Barbers of Reddit, how do you play it off when you know you messed up someone's hair? It'll look good if you put some gel in it, said the stylist at Mr. Cuts in the mall after she trimmed my sideburns about 1.5 inches above my ear. Nothing good ever starts with haircut in the mall. Key indicator. He's lining you up and stands in front of you. Then he squints his eyes after using the clippers. After he uses the clippers again, he squints his eyes while rubbing his chin. He does this for more than 1 minute. Once that is done, he doesn't show you the mirror that they usually hand you so you can check out your cut. He doesn't make eye contact after you pay him. You say thanks bro and he says alright man with 0 eye contact, and he returns to his chair to clean up. Now you exit the barber. Don't look at any mirrors on your way out. Once you leave the barber shop, you go into your car. Again, don't look at any mirrors. Don't skip this next step. Go on Google Maps and find a mall. Preferably one that is not in your area so no one recognizes who you are. Find a baseball cap that you love. Make sure you are comfortable wearing it for the next month. Wait about 2 months to let your hairline recover. Final step, never go to a barber without checking reviews again. It's not worth it. When we were newlyweds, my wife tried to cut my hair. She was nervous and not having a great day anyway, and I guess the clippers slipped or something. She started bawling and ran off. So there I was, a helpless, hopeless freak. I found a nearby barbershop and went in. It was a dank, smoke-filled place with an old TV showing Arnold Schwarzenegger movies on continuous loop. This little, middle-aged lady with a raspy voice said, "What'll it be?" Hon, I explained what happened. She looked at it and said that it was pretty bad, but she'd do what she can. She only used a comb and clippers, and in 10 minutes I had a perfect haircut. That became my regular place, until she lost her lease about a year later and had to close the shop. It took me years to finally convince my wife to cut my hair. Basically, I had to screw up the back of my head trying to cut it myself, then ask for her help, then assure her that if she didn't do well I was fully prepared to shave my entire head. By not showing me the back of it. One day I was in a changing room at store and learned that my stylist actually had no idea how to fade a dude's hair. Went to a barber and he was like, "Yeah, shoot's fricked, but I'll fix it." Yeah, shoot's fricked. I knew I was getting a bad cut when the guy started shaving my hairline like it was the back of my neck. I have never had anyone do that before. I gave it about a week before I just shaved my head because I had stubble for a hairline, with the rest being 4.5 inches long combed back. I'm not even balding in the front, so there was no reason to even go there. The second red flag was when he said this should be about as long as you want it for your man bun. But the words man and bun never left my lips the whole time I was getting it cut. All I asked was for a trim about half the length cut off and the sides shaved down. Do you want a man bun? About 1 stroke 2-way through the worst haircut I ever got, I started to get agitated and shifting around in my seat. She realized that she fricked up, and subtly started rubbing her boobs into the back of my head, eventually just kind of grinding them against me. By the time the haircut was over, I swear I could not think straight anymore. I just paid and got out of the room as quickly as possible. It was an entirely successful technique. There is a scale of barbering similar to the Beaufort scale that measures wind speed. A 1 on the scale is a really poor haircut from a topless female barber with plenty of boob action. A 10 is the perfect fade from a fat sweaty guy wearing a dirty apron. I have had both types and prefer a 6 or 7. Not a barber, but even when she was done, she kept coming back to the same parts. And then when she was done, she gelled the crap out of my hair and combed it up like that one Jersey Shore guy with the weird hair. Not a barber and not my story, but my mother's. She had hair that, when put in a braid, went down to about the back of her knees. She had been growing out that hair 20+ years with just trims and visits to get split ends removed. She went to get a normal split end removal and the girl cutting mom's hair said, "I'm new but I've been doing this for a while now." So imagine the anger and horror my mother expressed when this girl took her long luscious hair, braided it, grabbed some heavy scissors and cut it to about halfway down her back. From knee length, 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 from knee length. She simply went on and did what she wanted. I got a horrible cut at an expensive salon a month ago. The guy just stopped talking to me partway through and then didn't fully dry or style my hair before essentially fleeing in what I can only assume was an attempt to hide how much he freaking botched it. Same exactly thing happened to me last month. 2. You know it's going to be bad when they don't try to upsell you on their expensive products. I thought it was weird that he was leaving me with wet hair until I saw what he'd done to the back of my head. Obligatory. I'm not a barber, but I've been to one. She had my sideburns at different lengths. I wasn't being picky. They were at least half an inch different. When I pointed it out, she fixed them by overcompensating on the one side so that they were still half an inch different. I pointed this out, and her reply was, "Maybe your ears are crooked. Good cover. That one." When I turned 14, a woman at Fantastic Sam's gave me a mullet, then acted absolutely livid when I cried. My mom just gave her the proper amount and we left. I rocked a mullet to school the next day. Got called Joe Dirt a lot that year. I never went back to Fantastic Sam's. My kid brother once came back with a mullet from the barbers. I took one look, made him turn around and just cut off the hair just below the hairline. I wasn't about to let him go to school looking like that. My mom is a pro hairstylist and she said that whenever she cuts someone's hair too short and the customer complains, she just makes up stuff on the fly and says, "But this length looks better. It complements your face shape and brings out your cheekbones." When I was like 6 or 7, the lady cutting my hair at Sport Clips messed up really bad and gave me 2 bald spots on the side of my head. Once it happened, she promptly accused me of having alopecia. Keep in mind, my hair was never long in the first place, so any bald spots would have been apparent before the haircut. No mistakes. You're the mistake. Super long, but this just hit home for me. I once got my hair cut from a place in a strip mall. It was kinda like a first choice haircutter or whatever, so I didn't think it would be too bad. I was in middle school and loved my hair. It was down to my waist when straightened, but naturally it's curly. Due to its weight it didn't curl so much as have nice waves. I was tired of it getting in the way and wanted to go shorter, shoulder length. That's what I told the hairdresser. This was the day I learned that you should never cut curly hair wet. Apparently the lady didn't know how to properly cut hair. Chopped off my hair to my shoulder then kept going. I was young and in shock at seeing all my hair drop to the floor but was too uncomfortable to speak up. Finally, when my hair was at my chin, my mother came in and asked what the heck the lady was doing. She said it was shoulder length. Pulled my hair as hard as she could so my head tilted till my hair touched. My mum asked how the heck this was shoulder length when I had curly hair and it was soaking wet. The lady's response? It was only curly on the bottom. My mum demanded she stop. Too mad to argue, she paid and we stormed out while I cried for hours. I cried for 3 days. After my hair dried, my hair bounced up to sit just below my ears. It was awful and I didn't go see another hairdresser for a few years after that. TLDR. Got my hair cut at a strip mall. Lady didn't know how to cut curly hair and cut my waist length hair to my ears saying it was shoulder length. Not a barber, but I got my roots touched up at a mall hairstylist. The color was way darker, brown instead of blonde, and created a line down my head. She goes, "Well, people are into this two-toned hair nowadays. Hiding mistakes is just stupid. I know I did a mistake, I just say it. Because the client knows that you messed it up. The most guys don't say it and you may lost a client. This way you can still fix it next time. Most people understand cause you are only a human. After all." My mom is a barber and I just asked her and she said I hurry the haircut then I move on to the next customer, I don't have to deal with it. Butthole move lol. One time I did real bad and I could tell the guy was kind of pee. So when I was trimming the back with the straight razor I slipped and knocked his jugular. Believe me, an ambo ride and 5 pints of blood later, he wasn't worried about his hair anymore. Okay, Sweeney Todd. I get my hair cut by my aunt. She messes it up like every time. My haircut needs to age like a good steak. After a week or 2 it is perfect. As a Dominican, barbershops have been in my life since I could walk. If they aren't blasting cob, speak no English, talking on their Bluetooths, and managing their flock of children as you're getting cut, Your barber ain't real. With that said, when I was 15, I had my OG starting point guard of my barber lineup lose focus on slip on the clippers. He chopped off the top of my hair with a one blade, which is very short. I had a nice curly Dominican blowout which I spent all summer growing. I had to get a skin fade all around my head as a result, but I did get free cuts from that guy for a solid 5 months. I'm a hairstylist and I only do men's hair. Technically not a barber, but still have plenty of experience. It really depends on the screw up and my relationship with the client. A regular, I just tell them where I messed up, apologize, blend as much as I can, and don't charge them. It's rare that it happens, but I don't see the point in lying to them. I've had some goofy cuts walk out and still come back, and I'm sure it's because of how I handled it. A new guy? Blend, blend, blend. It's a mistake if it looks like a mistake. It usually means their hair is shorter than they wanted, but I'd rather it be a little too short and clean than longer with a ledge in it. Not every cut is a masterpiece, and that's okay. My barber does my hair and my beard, and every now and then he screws my beard up by making it patchy on one side, but he's such a chill guy about it, apologizing and all and doing his best to fix it, and not charging the $5 beard fee. I return to him every 2 weeks. Good customer service really does go a long way. For the first time ever, I went to a new barber since I moved away from my regular barber. So anyways, I told them I just wanted a small trim and didn't want much off. They used scissors, the front was perfect, then they used clippers in the back. As they finished they look a bit overwhelmed, took out the clipper and started to shave off more. Next thing I know, she's clipping the front of my hair as well, and I pull back and I'm like, oh, I told you I don't want my hair short, what are you doing? To which they replied, oh, it's your hair, so half of it is straight but the other half was all frizzy. There was nothing I can do about that. I have to cut it out, and if I don't balance the front then it'll look awkward. This mother suckers thinks this was the first time I've gotten a haircut. My hair is never frizzy or curly, it's always straight. I hated the haircut, I didn't pay for it and never went back. The funny part is when they pressed harder I felt it, so I know they fricked up. I saw the look on their face when they tried to blame me. I got even more triggered. I DK about the haircut specifically, but apparently when our local barber puts a 3-inch gash in my husband's head that bleeds furiously, the reaction is to say, "My bad, man," and then call my husband on his personal number while at home to scream at him for coming at his family by posting a pic. I'll be mad forever. Don't test a pregnant wife's anger. The baby will be born but the fury remains, and so does the freaking scar. When I started at a new salon, with no barber experience, I was chucked in at the deep end by having to run a salon column and a barber chair. I was allowed to watch for 1 day and then had to try and teach myself how to barber off YouTube in between cuts. Mistakes do get made in the beginning, by everyone, so there was the classic lack of blending, etc. The one that sticks out in my mind as an error was when the mother of a little boy asked for an 8 clipper length around the sides of this bowl cut, and unfortunately an 8 and a 2 are both blue colored. Oops. But my fave was actually when I had to fix a not so secret haircut that these 2 little boys' grandmother had done. I knew the dad from previous cuts and he came in and was just fuming. He was like, I dropped them round there for the afternoon and she decided to cut their hair in secret. I asked if she had any hair experience and he said no, none at all. So now was time to inspect the situation, and no joke, she had shaved the back, sides and fringe area to about a 2, but the crown was still so long that it actually covered most of their heads. It was ridiculous, and I said to the dad that it was going to have to be a head shave as there was no coming back from this hair fountain of lies. I felt bad for the kids, but it was freaking jokes TBF. There was no coming back from this hair fountain of lies. Not too long ago, I used to work at this barber shop. A rather strange looking man came in and said he wanted a bob cut. I agreed and started to cut away. I had looked away for 5 seconds and the clippers cut all of the hair of the top of his head. I knew I was screwed. He asked, "Are you finished yet? I'm running late. I need to get home to my wife." I sat there in pure shock. He added, "I am just going to leave. Mind if I see my hairstyle?" I quickly tried to cover it up by adding, No, wait until you get home. Your wife would surely love to see it." How about you see it with your wife? He didn't understand what I was hinting at, so he paid and left. At that time, it was around 5:45. We close at 9 o'clock. Turns out, his wife hated the hairstyle and threatened to divorce him, as she thought it was a dirty joke. He came back and said, "Hey man, why didn't you just freaking tell me that you made my hair look like crap?" Well, my rookie mistake. Also Ryan, if you're ready this, sorry man. It was a mistake. Hope you and your wife are doing fine. If you notice the barber keeps combing a specific spot on your head, they probably fricked up somewhere in that spot. Source: I'm a barber and have fricked up before. Not always. I'm a hairdresser, so not exactly the same, but I have my fair amount of men clients. Usually when I'm doing that, I'm fricking around with a goddamn cowlick and trying to form a plan of attack so it doesn't end up sticking up like a rooster tail. I was a barber for 13 years and my father was a barber for 40 years. So there was a $5 chop shop on the other side of town. When you got your hair cut there, you were lucky to sit in the chair for 5 minutes. You can imagine that we would get at least 1 or 2 people in a week that would come in with some really jacked up cuts. I used to fix the haircuts for free. That really used to pee off my father, but I made so many regular clients because I spent a few minutes fixing a crappy haircut. Good barbers won't frick your crap up like that, and a good barbershop owner will fix any fuck ups that crappy employees make. Always go to a shop that has a fricking great barber as the proprietor. My usual hairstylist was on maternity leave, and so I went elsewhere on 2 occasions to get my hair cut while she was off. I have a longer graduated bob, like Dana Lynn Bailey, if you know who she is. First place gave me some kind of mullet when they cut it, especially the front 2 pieces, but I could kind of style it okay-ish. The next place, well, I swear to God the girl was high as eagle pea or drunk or both, cause she cut the back of my hair so wonky, like broken fence posts. I went to my sister's after and cried, and she sent me down to her hairdressers who fixed it for me, but it had to be quite a lot shorter in the back than I wanted. I then had a couple of cuts at sister's salon till my stylist came back off mat leave. The worst haircut I ever got was from a gal I knew, who was not trained in the art of haircutting. The next day I had to go to a reputable professional to get it straightened out. It was also the best haircut I'd ever gotten, as it involved wine and a centerfold model. Since other non-barbers are sharing, I'll share one of my stories. When I was a young kid, I had really long hair like to my butt. Well, my mom took me to a salon to get my hair trimmed and the lady basically shaved my head. I'm a female BTWLOL, so my mom was pee. The lady just yelled at my mom that I had headless so bad I was bleeding and that I needed my head basically shaved since my mom don't know how to take care of it. Thank you, random salon lady, for probably making my head feel 10 times better. Sometimes bad haircuts are good. I cut my own hair, so I just yell at myself in the mirror, cut it short and convince myself it's not that bad. Then I remember that I'm old, a bit fat, ugly, and it reminds me that it doesn't really matter what I look like. Then I go play with my kids and forget that I look like a mental patient for a few days. A wise man once wrote on his guitar, "Friends don't let friends get friends haircuts." To be serious, I asked for a specific haircut I've had done by multiple barbers without issue, and she ended up giving me a buzzcut. From long hair to a dang buzzcut. Not a barber, but my barber messed up my hair and I didn't say nothing until I got outside to let you know my hair was long for me, like a 4 inches long, so I asked for a trim and asked if he could cut it a little bit so I wasn't in my face, and by the end he had it where you could see my scalp and he just didn't say anything. I've had nightmares like this. This is why I, 23am, pay $35 for a haircut and visit the same girl every month. She does a fantastic job and I tip her well. I once went to my local barber shop that I have been going to for years. My guy is usually there, but that day he wasn't, so I went for the next available barber. She did an okay job on my hair and asked if I needed an eyebrow trim, and I was like sure because it was getting a little thick. After she was done, I noticed she trimmed more than she should have and made it uneven on one eyebrow. I let her know and her response was for me to paint it in with eyeliner, then said it would grow back. She was sure quick to try to get me out of that chair, so I asked her kindly to see what she could do, and after some work she got it so you barely noticed it. I still go there but avoid her. Not me. but days before my younger brother was about to get his 3rd grade school photo, we went to a Walmart hair salon. The lady in there somehow shaved off his eyebrows. It was so weird that we didn't even comment on it. Not a barber anymore, but I did freak up a few heads when I was just starting my career. I'd just play it off like I didn't notice, and hope they didn't either. Or if I cut the hair at the crown a little short and made it stick up, I'd just show them how to blow dry it to make it lay down. My barber ruined my hair this week. He has always come across very passive aggressive, and I mentioned I cut my own hair in between visits to his barber shop. He seemed visibly bitter by this, and I genuinely think he fricked up my hair because of it. One side of my fringe is considerably longer than the other. The other has been trimmed right up by my hairline. He has well and truly ruined my hair. No wax can fix it. I look ridiculous. I've tried to fix it and it's not much better tbh. I feel very self-conscious about the mess on my head and I will never go back now. I'm not a barber but a hairstylist. When I mess up I'm just honest. If the color didn't turn out right I fix it. If it's a cut that's too short that you can't fix you apologize. People react a lot better if you just flat out tell them, in my experience. Because mess ups happen to all hairstylists and barbers no matter how good they are. There is a reason why high profile people travel with their own barbers and hairstylists. Cause they will be honest AF. Unlike people who don't want to hurt feelings. You can read a hairdresser or barber. The vast majority are honest. But somebody ain't telling Trump he looks like a guinea pig is along for the ride on his head. So there is that. Some poor soul is having to unroll 3 foot of comb over to bleach that guy's roots. It happened to my barber, it was just small mistakes so he let me slap him. I was like 5 so he probably didn't feel anything but I felt like his boss. When I first moved to my recent town, my neighbor suggested that I go to this barber ran by his grandfather. I said okay, what could go wrong? I enter this place to find the couch he had, which was falling apart. The barber chairs grinded as they turned and they had the TV blasting, which happened to be playing VH1. It's my turn into the chair and he immediately puts the 1/8 guard to my head. I nearly jumped out the seat, asking, "Yo, what are you doing?" He looks at me like I got 3 heads. "You want a low cut?" "No, I didn't even tell you what I wanted yet." I sit back down and tell him I want a dark fade, bald at the bottom. Over the course of the cut, I can hear this man grunt and sigh. Little did I know that those were the signs of him fucking up. He barely turned me to the mirror and kept asking to close my eyes when he faced me. Man, when it came to my hairline, forget it. He had to go over it more than 3 times. My forehead was practically bleeding. I finally had enough and told him I needed a break. Told him the clippers were getting way too hot. I get up and looked in the mirror and was devastated. I later found out that he was the worst barber on the block and my neighbor plays a cruel joke on bringing people to him. I was only 15 at the time but I paid my new neighbor a visit afterward. TLDR. Barber sighed and grunted as he butchered my dome. I would have refused to pay. I got so fed up with bad haircuts and paying hairdressers incredibly stupid prices to do my hair every month and a half. I shaved it all off in my bathroom last week, and I've never been happier with myself. Noticed that I actually have amazing cheekbones and a pretty nice jawline. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.